What is going on, people? Kirk here from Reveal, and we are here for episode 3 of the Reveal podcast. Today, we've got the full squads. We got Sam, we got Rue, we got Big Nige, we got Felix, we got Ralph, and we got more topics to talk about today. But how's everyone feeling first before we actually delve into it? Everyone good? Enjoying your international break?
No, we lost to Algeria, man.
Resting up, man.
What about you, Rue? We see you're repping Scotland right now. How are you feeling?
Mate, I'm living the dream. First ever penalty shootout for Scotland. 5 perfect penalties, straight through to a playoff final. What more do you need?
For me, I don't like international break at all, if I'm honest with you. It just gets in the way of football. But anyway, let's get straight into it, guys. There's no need to waste any more time. And ironically, I said the word time because it looks like Thomas Partey is what we're going to be talking about first of all. I'm sure if you're an Arsenal fan, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Hey.
I mention it all the time that, you know, if you're a true Ghanaian, the way to pronounce it is Partey. It's not Partey. You got people mentioning Partey, but it's Thomas T. Partey as a Ghanaian.
I'm not Ghanaian.
I don't think anyone's gonna care. People are even leaving out the team, and people are saying party, so it's calm.
It's. Do you know what? As I've mentioned, I even tweeted it out when it came out. It's exciting news. Like, I am thoroughly excited as a Ghanaian to see a player of such caliber. And for me, I think that the thing that stood out most for me is the reception I think that he received, realistically, because I think we've heard of him on the world stage. We've heard of him, in terms of UEFA Champions League games and everything. But for me, the thing that was just amazing for me to see was just how much people actually took to his arrival. But I'm gonna go to Nigel first. I know we've got a few Arsenal fans on this here chat, but I want to go to Nigel first, and I just kind of want you to just tell us a little bit about how you feel about, just have on the side. We're not talking as fans or as Arsenal fans or anything here, but just as him as a player being included in, like, the list of players that we already have in the Premier League and what that means for the English game right now.
First and foremost, fantastic signing for Arsenal. Secondly, to bring someone with such caliber to the Premier League, and I know how back in the day we've had the likes of Makalele, we've had Essien, proper DMs. We're now seeing let me not even forget about Kante, but we're talking about someone who loves to break up play and distribute it and let the man them that with the flair and the technical ability do their thing. That's what he enjoys. He enjoys intercepting.
Seems to have lost him there. But no, he was making he was making a great point. Obviously, with the whole thing about interception and actually allowing other people to break up play and actually, do what the creative ones actually enjoy. It's a great point to make. But if Nigel, I'm sure we'll get back to him for him to finish this point in a sec. But I'm just going to skip over to Felix, who's next to him at the moment. If you could just touch on a little bit about what he spoke about and just kind of continue from there. As I said, what does it mean to have a player like this actually coming into the Premier League, aside from the fact that, if you're an Arsenal fan or if you're not an Arsenal fan, just him as a player in general?
Yeah, I mean, touching from what Nigel said, yeah, fantastic signing for the Premier League, because, we saw him on the Europe stage anyway, in the Champions League. Mostly, I think last season is where he really sort of burst onto the scene as a top midfielder in Europe. So literally in his defensive play and his offensive play, he's able to break up play. He's able to hold the ball and bring others in. He's able to pass. He's deceptively quick. He's strong, combative. So all those qualities. I mean, Premier League it's something that, a lot of teams are crying out for. A player like that, and a team particularly like Arsenal, we're crying out for a player like that, a player that is able to just hold the ball in that midfield and control that midfield to be able to bring the likes of Aubameyang, the likes of Pepe, and players like that who are able to create the chances and, get the goals into play. So fantastic signing.
What about you, Ralph? I see you there scratching your head. You're a fan?
No, I am. Obviously, I haven't watched him every weekend like I do the other players in the Premier League. I only see him here. You know, I'll be real. Seen some highlight reels. He looks wavy in it. Seen some compilation vids. He looks the part, fam. He looks a player. But obviously, I'm optimistic. I don't want to get too, because I'm an Arsenal fan, yeah. So my thing is, I don't want to be too optimistic. And he's coming Emirates. He's coming North London, and he's not doing what them highlights reel was showing. You get it. So I'm just chilling right now.
I hear that.
I'm chilling. But from obviously he just comes across this. Do you know what he has? From when I've watched him, just presence. So I think that alone is something he can bring to the squad, innit?
It's a fair point, but I thoroughly agree with you. I think in terms of getting too excited or anything like that, but I feel like people actually just at this present moment in time, everyone just has the right to be excited. There's just certain signings that just gas you as individuals. But moving, I want to go back to Nigel because I like the point that he was making before unfortunately he got cut off. But if you could just carry on, Nigel, about
Sorry, like my Mac decided to do an update when I didn't ask it to. Still, when it gives you the time to update and you can ignore it, and then it just does it for itself.
It just does it, yeah. But the point you were making about what he does with talking about Kante and the way he allows other people to play, I think that was a great point.
Yeah, man. Like one thing I realized with Atletico Madrid, what he does is like there'll be games where Simeone won't even start him, but if they want to see off a game, he'll bring him on. If they're 1-0 up, he'll bring him on and make him just sharp shot, just break up play, intercept, and just keep the shape. So that's one thing he's definitely good at, being disciplined in his position, keeping his shape, and doing what he's been told to do. And I only listened to what I've forgotten what my man was saying, but he was saying about Ralph, what was you saying about basically I've forgotten what he was saying, bro. I literally caught the last sentence of what he was talking about and it stuck with me, but now I've forgotten what he was saying. But basically he's just authority, that's it. He's got a presence. And we haven't had that in Arsenal's midfield for years. Like I read in the papers, they were saying like it took us 15 years to replace Patrick Vieira. And I laughed. And I'm thinking, but you know what?
It's true.
So true.
It's the truth. 15 years, bruv. Like, come on, man. That's the signing, and I can't wait to see him put on the shirt, man. Honestly.
I wanna jump over to Rue. Being a Liverpool fan, with your few encounters with Atletico.
I knew this was coming.
You got to expect it because I'm not gonna lie. Most of the highlights I've seen is just him dominating the midfield against you guys.
Well, no, this is where I want to challenge that because it's been such a big argument with Liverpool fans this week I've seen on Twitter, and I cannot believe we are still arguing about a game that was a game that was in February, and B, about a signing that our club aren't even making. But the argument about how dominant he can be in midfield when we played a game where we had like 70% possession and still managed to absolutely bottle it. Me personally, I think you've finally done a seriously good bit of business, and I'm really, really glad to see Arsenal doing some good business because
It sounds so good. It sounds so good, man. I'm just so happy.
You've finally done some good business, and whether we're arguing about whether he can control the game or whether we shut up shop with him or not, I am really keen to see how he gets on in Premier League because he caused us a lot of problems in that Champions League tie. Obviously, because we got knocked out. I'm not crying, and yeah, it's good to see someone burst onto the scene like that, and then I think that should be really encouraging for someone who is an Arsenal fan to see a name like that burst onto the scene, and then your club go and sign him because it feels like it's been a while since that's happened.
You see Sam just absolutely smiling in the middle there. I think he's already given everything away. Everyone knows who you support. You can't even become a fraud and support somebody else. I don't mind. I kind of want to get your thoughts because I know, obviously, the two of us during Reveal for a while, we've we've covered Partey over the last couple of years. We've looked at some of the games where, he's just created some incredible numbers. They've talked about how he is literally within La Liga in terms of dribbles, tackles, and everything. He's on top. It kind of simulates kind of some of the stuff that we've seen with Wilfred Ndidi as well, as we've looked at over the last few years as well. But for me, it's I just kind of want to get your attention to something. I don't know if you remember back in I think maybe last year, a couple of years ago, because we were reporting it on the Reveal Twitter that Manchester City actually penciled down a £65 million bid to sign Partey at the time, but he didn't go. And obviously, if you remember back, Mikel Arteta was actually Pep Guardiola's number 2 at the time. So if you're looking at that aspect of things, and the fact that City actually, again, put that £65 million down, but we've just signed them for 45. I feel like it goes without saying, but just tell me a little bit about the kind of business that they've just kind of done now, and even like stretching it out to deadline day as well. A lot of the time, I was kind of thinking, why is this thing taking so long? We've been linked with Partey since the beginning of the window. And even with what Adu said recently, he mentioned that, if you look at his plans from back in
8-9 months ago,
February and January, apparently Partey was already in the starting lineup when him and Arteta were talking. So hearing that kind of stuff and looking at the way that Arsenal handled their business, I know you're in euphoria at the moment, so just tell me how you're feeling.
Nah, do you know what? Yeah, when the fact that they planned it out so well, I love it because it shows there's a structure and there's a plan on how the club is going to move forward. But what I think was dodgy the way they submitted that release clause half an hour before the deadline. You know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. No, but this is what I love. Like, I don't think we've had this much security with a manager since like prime Wenger days, because usually we're always panic buying or we're just getting average players. There isn't necessarily a world class, like people were saying on Twitter that we haven't felt this way since Ozil signed, and like that's saying a lot. Ozil signed when? What was that? Not 2013 or something like that?
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? So we've had to wait this long for a player to come in and we're like, yeah, this is going to be a proper player. And I'm even more excited because it's a world-class African player coming to the Premier League and he's going to prove himself and do well. I know that for sure. And one thing I wanted to say about Arsenal as well is that if you guys have noticed that Arsenal have been playing extremely defensively lately, and so he's going to be able to come in and offer protection, and we're going to be able to utilize our attack more. And hopefully, when Martinelli comes back into the side, you know the one when Martinelli comes back in the side.
It's true. And obviously, recently they done an interview with Arteta, and he was saying that what they basically asked him what Partey would offer. What we'll bring to the team, and Arteta literally just said he would allow Arsenal to basically try out different formations. So just by hearing that, you just know straight away what they're planning to do. That defensive lineup.
Yeah, if you go back to the game that they played recently, the teams escaped my mind now. Who was Sheffield United, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about it afterwards, after watching the game, and we were just like, I'm not gonna jump on Eddie Nketiah's head because me and Sam have had these conversations too many times.
Leave Eddie alone, man.
For me, the biggest thing was not like taking Nketiah out of the situation. I think the most amazing thing to see was the change in the formation. All of a sudden, we went from a 3-4-3, which we normally play with 2 centre mids, obviously to try and keep things compact. But then when you keep things compact like that, you've got Aubameyang up, at the other side of the pitch with no support. You've got Willian having to play a lot more defensively than he would like to, and it's in terms of as Felix mentioned that dynamic, the dynamic. I don't know how you put it. The dynamic, just the structure of the team, and just dynamism there. It's not active. But then as soon as they switched to a 4-3-3, you literally just saw the pitch just open up. It was nuts. Like for me, I think a lot of people don't really understand the value of one player and the value that one player can actually have to a team. I've thought to myself, Arsenal struggled defensively. I remember I was thinking this. I think this afternoon I was like, Arsenal struggled defensively, but it's Partey, like just one player, just this one guy, is that now going to make such a big difference to the entire team?
Yes.
And I sat down and I was like, actually, it actually will, because I started to deep that at the end of the day, you've got, let's say, Ceballos and Xhaka in the middle, who aren't very, defensive. They can do the job, but they're not very defensive. They're more of creators. They want to create. They want to express themselves. Xhaka with his passes, Ceballos with his flair. But when you play in a 3-4-3, they have to now do all the defensive work. If you've got a big Ghanaian brother in that middle who's not going to budge, and he's literally going to be clamping people, he's going to be clamping Sterling, going to be clamping De Bruyne, going to be clamping all of these players. Now it now frees up. Like, it's almost as if Xhaka and Ceballos can be like, you know what, just do it. Like, we'll work our magic up there, and we know that our backline is secure. So I think people definitely underestimate the level of impacts that just one player can have on the team. I know a lot of people are talking about how Arsenal needed two. But yeah, go on, Felix.
If I can add something to that, I think if we rewind back in the 2015-2016 season, if you told me a defensive partnership of Wes Morgan and Robert Huth will win the league, I would laugh at you.
Bro.
I would genuinely laugh at you. But then we were forgetting that little man in that middle, that DM role, just covering them and allowing all the other creative players to do their work. N'Golo Kante was the key for Leicester, in my opinion, anyway, for them winning and for them doing so well. So it does show. So it does show like the value of how one player can really affect a team and allow them to create and to come forward.
It's very true. I think it's very, very true. All of us, I can't lie to you. I think everybody here, and as I keep saying, whether you're an Arsenal fan or you're not an Arsenal fan, I think just seeing physical players that have so much technical ability and just are lovely and amazing to watch. Just being a football fan, you appreciate stuff like that anyway. So I'm very, 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 very sure that I keep saying, I tweeted this when the signing was made, that this guy is actually the real deal. He is the real deal, and I say that because he's shown it time and time again. So as I said, we can't wait. But moving on, everyone's been excited. Everyone's so hyped for that.
I love how confident you all are. This is fantastic.
I love it.
I love it.
But this is what big money, not even big money, but just the big signings. This is what it gets you at the end of the day. We ain't had this for a while, so just allow us. The podcast today isn't Arsenal centered, but I think it's just ironic that some topics kind of interlink between each other. And the next topic that we're going to talk about is bittersweet, but Theo Walcott's career, not Arsenal career, but just his career in general. And I think I decided to pick this topic, obviously following his transfer recently to Southampton. So for me, I see it like he's just done a loop. He started off at Southampton, he's gone through his entire career now, and now he's ended up back again at Southampton. Walcott's a 30-odd or 30+ year old player now, and he's more or less knocking on. Some may say that he's already, seen his prime days, and it's all behind him. He might not agree, or he might agree. Who knows? But in terms of it being bittersweet, I want to go to Ralph first. If you remember back in 2012, when I believe it might have been 2011, around 2011, 2012, when people were begging Theo Walcott to sign that new contract. Walcott signed the thing. That song became an internet sensation. It came an internet sensation, but I think from that outburst, we know exactly what you think. But I just want to ask you, how would you describe his career?
No, I'm joking. Obviously, you see when Walcott first went to Arsenal, yeah. When Walcott first went to Arsenal, you see how we're hyping Mbappe. That's what we did to Walcott, innit? So first of all, he should really be embarrassed. It's really embarrassing. He's done right. He's done his thing. He's done his thing. He's done. Yeah, like I don't know. He's done all right. He's done all right. He's got himself some FA Cups. He scored a lot of goals for Arsenal as well, innit? So a lot of appearances. He was there, 10 years? How many years was he there? I think he's done all right. I don't think he'll be too upset with his career. He's got himself some England caps. I don't know if that's something he would have got staying at Southampton, but he was too good to be playing at Southampton anyway. He was he was an Arsenal player. I love Theo Walcott. Let me not lie, I love Theo Walcott. But I won't be too upset if I had a career like that myself, to be honest. But I just feel like sometimes he didn't fully reach that potential that we thought he could have. But maybe that's because Arsenal were going through that time period where when he was in his prime, Arsenal weren't really a strong side. You get it? So we were like so dependent on him. So he was good, but he wasn't good enough to take us to that next level that obviously we would wanted to. But yeah, man, he's doing his thing at Southampton. He's still playing Premier League. Everyone's turning up after 30, so he might get next.
Can you imagine? No, but I agree with what Rafa said. I think it makes total sense. But I kind of want to go to Felix next. And just paint a picture for all of you, if you could just remember. If everyone thinks of Theo Walcott, I'm sure everybody's mind flashes back to that fresh-faced young boy, 16-year-old, standing next to Arsene Wenger in his gigantic top, holding the Arsenal
number
shirt.
32.
Yeah, 32.
Holding the Arsenal like a normal, I don't know, level 1, level 2 trim, nothing too fancy going on. And then you just, he stepped onto the pitch, even coming away from that World Cup, because remember in the 2006 World Cup, he actually was included in the squad. One of the few times that a 16-year-old had actually been included in a like a major team like that going into a World Cup campaign. But everyone remembers that, and when he joined Arsenal, you had these images of, I think from day one, everyone just knew that the kid he was like Flash. It was nuts. For me, I had never seen anybody, as young as I was at the time, I had never seen anybody run that fast. Especially the way at the time, I remember Arsenal had the title of the best breakers in the business, and we used to hit people on the counter attack, and it was dangerous. But most of the time, whenever that counter-attack happened from like a corner, you had Theo Walcott literally just bombing it. And I don't want to say his career has been a disappointment, but I'm moving to Felix. I just wanted to ask, where do you think it went wrong in a sense? Not to say that his career has been a disappointment, because I agree with Ralph. I think he's done his thing. Like, not a lot of people would argue with some of the stuff that he's achieved in his career. But let's not lie to ourselves and say that, it hasn't been a slight disappointment, because there's aspects of it that was disappointing. So where do you think it went wrong?
I think it would be quite difficult to actually pinpoint maybe the year or the years that it may have gone wrong, because obviously, yeah, like you said, when he first sort of came onto the scene as this fresh-faced player, even going with England in the 2006 World Cup, although I don't think he actually played in that World Cup, but obviously after that sort of golden era of English players, I think at that time it was like, oh, this is the sort of the person that will usher in the new era. So a lot of people looked at him as sort of like the new boy, really coming in to usher in this new era of English football. So I feel like it's something that maybe the English media are at fault for as well, for hyping up and bringing this sort of pressure on on someone at such a young age, where they sort of look up to him, as Ralph said, like how we look up, how we've seen Mbappe now as this next big thing. So it may have put a lot of pressure on him at the time. But obviously, I mean, he stepped into the boots. He started off really well, his Arsenal career anyway. As you said, lightning quick. And for me, with Walcott, when he has a good game, he does display the attributes of a brilliant winger. But when he's off form and when he's not having a good game, you kind of question how he got a professional contract in the first place. But let's not go there. But I think, yeah, I mean, if you look at his Arsenal career, he hasn't done too bad. I can't actually remember how many goals he got, but his numbers aren't terrible.
It's not terrible. It really isn't.
It's not bad at all. I guess you could look, maybe he was riddled with injuries just when he was sort of starting to pick up pace and pick up form. So maybe that might be, unlucky on his part. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his career overall, I think it's just, a player that, he's had a good career, but you feel like he didn't quite tap into the level that a lot of people expected him to.
Yeah. I think Sam. I know Sam's a stat man today. He's even got the earpiece on, looking like a commentator for us. But I think Sam's got.
Look like he should be on Soccer Saturday.
I'm telling you,
I'm
I
so
don't know.
done. I don't know.
Give us a few stats. I know you got like some of his goals and
Yeah, well, I always look back to Arsenal because that's where he played most of his football. That's where everyone knows him from, innit? He played 398 games for Arsenal, 108 goals. I'm just like, from the wing position, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think a lot of players would wish to have those stats. And like, for me, Theo Walcott, I'm a fan of Theo Walcott, first of all, because the first Arsenal game I went to, he scored the winner. So like, straight up, like, I'm already a fan of him. And yeah, he's had his moments, FA Cups, North London derbies. I remember that game against Chelsea, the 5-3. Like, he's had his moments. The game against Newcastle where we scored like 7 and he dropped on the floor and got back up again. Like, Walcott's produced some moments. And even his early days at Arsenal, people were saying that there was glimpses of Henry in there. Glimpses. I'm not comparing him. Yes, before anyone tries to draw me out. There was glimpses of potentially becoming like an Henry. And that's why and that's why he got given the number 14 shirt when Henry left. Do you see what I'm saying? And for me, I felt like something went wrong in the process because I'm like, how can a player be so good, and we're talking about brilliant in some games, and then be below par in other games? Do you see what I'm saying? I get the whole. I remember when everyone was saying that he should play up top. He should play up top. He got those chances, didn't really do well. But like, I'm just trying to figure out why. Innit? Like, why didn't things go well for him? But the one thing I don't like is when people say, "Oh, look how many trophies he won. Like, how can he be a good player?" And I'm just like, Arsenal they've been a progressing team for years. They haven't reached their peak in so long. So for him to be in a team like that is continuously growing for over a decade, how do you expect him to win big trophies? Like, football's a team game. He's not going to carry the whole squad. So in terms of that, you can't really blame him for that. But I'm not too sure what went wrong for Theo Walcott, because I feel like he should have been a much, much better player. Like, he plays very similar to Vardy. You could say Vardy's have better finishing, yeah, but in terms of everything else, I think they were quite similar, man. Pacey, getting behind the defense. Like, nobody wanted to play up against Walcott when he was ready.
I think I do agree to some extent with the comparison with Vardy because of pace and everything. The bit where I differ a little bit was the finishing. Because
that's what I was saying.
I have said so many times, I don't know, some people will say that Vardy might be a better finisher. But in terms of Walcott, I'm not going to lie to you. The guy's style of finishing, he had a range. He didn't only score, tap-ins. He didn't only score finesse shots. He had range. He could chip it. He could, like, he in and around.
He scored some bad man goals, bro. I'm telling you.
But I think I was going to go to Nigel next and ask about Sam touched on the fact that his position thing it didn't work out, and I think a lot of the time that's why people did mention that Walcott maybe perhaps didn't really grow and wasn't allowed to expand because he wasn't given the time to settle in one position, or he was in one position but his mind was on another position, and even with the whole thing of him being moved to a striker. A lot of people did argue that he wasn't given the time to even grow as a striker. But obviously, when you've been playing on the wing and you get moved into the middle, it's a completely different ball game. You have to, do different things to help him cater the team. So I just kind of wanted to ask you, in your view, do you think that was the biggest problem with him, in the fact that he wasn't really allowed to settle in the role that he wanted to play in, or do you think that there was something else?
I personally feel that's where it all went wrong for him, personally. I think we got to look back at when we first signed him. He was a pacey winger, 16. I think he was 16. And I think the potential was for him to eventually move from the wing position into a centre forward, similar to Thierry Henry. But I think the development didn't come with him playing on the wing. I think his biggest issue for me was he had so much rapid pace, but didn't know how to utilize it in certain situations. I thought that was his biggest issue. And in that final third, when you need that extra va-va-voom, like, again, not want to compare him to Thierry, like Sam said, but using your pace to your advantage, I don't think sometimes he didn't do that. And I think when he got to a point where when he was now of a certain age and he's screaming, I want to play up top, I want to play up top. He got the opportunity and he didn't actually take it with both hands. And that was the conundrum, basically. That was the question mark. It's like, all right, you've been screaming, you got your contract, you're playing up top, but you're not delivering. So what now? So it's one of them things where it was kind of a downward spiral. They push him back on the wing, and then eventually he ended up getting sold. But again, don't get me wrong, 10 years at the club, he done his thing. But I think the intentions of when we first signed him to how he ended his career were not what they expected. They expected a lot more better. And I think that was it, really.
It's true. It's a fair point to make. I'm going to jump to Rue. If you have any, memories of Walcott as a player, obviously him being in and around the Premier League, he would have played Liverpool a few times, or just him as a footballer in general, because I'm sure that there's certain footballers that you just know of because of their special attributes and because of the certain things that they possess. And Theo Walcott was one such player. Regardless of what team you supported, everybody in the Premier League knew of Theo Walcott, and it's because of that rapid pace that we mentioned. So, in your eyes, anyway, how would you describe his career? Obviously, with England and everything as well.
You talk about memories. The big memory I have of Walcott when I first sort of sat up and realised this is a player I don't enjoy watching Liverpool come up against was when we had each other in the Champions League knockout. I think it was like the quarters or something. Yeah. And it was back into the noughties. And I just remember him coming on at some point during a game. I can't remember what year it is for the life of me, but he just turned the screw for Arsenal and gave us a
2008.
That's it. Yes, he came on, and that was when I realised that pace is his biggest asset, and he needs to use it, because if he can just stun teams with it and have some accuracy in front of goal, he's going to cause problems, and he did. And I think it was something stupid like 4-2 in the end, but he had Anfield on the edge of its seat, and I just remember thinking, this is going to be a guy who is going to be a significant problem. And now all I can look back on when I think of how it worked out for him is lack of confidence with where to play on the pitch and how to fit into the system under Wenger, coupled with some horrific injuries. I think what year was it? He went off on he did his knee against Spurs and went off doing the whole 2-0 thing.
Yeah.
I think
2013-14, I think it was.
I think that's when I first started to realise it wasn't really going his way at all, because that was quite a serious one. And then he ended up, obviously, a couple of years later at an Everton side that were just a complete mess, because they had no setup like they do now, where they had a world-class manager with a clear mindset. So it's harmed him in a sense, but I don't think it's career-ending for the fact that he's gone to Southampton now. I think this is a really, really good chance, because he's in a fantastic team where clearly someone over the age of 30 is doing unbelievably well, Danny Ings. So I don't think this is a complete write-off him moving there, and I hope he does well, because I did enjoy watching him, as much as it was a pain first to come against him. He was one of the best sort of homegrown examples of a really pacey forward player who can cause a lot of problems for teams, and it was fun to watch. But yeah, I don't think you should count him out just yet.
You know, Rue, I was me and Felix were looking at this actually this week. We also thought Danny Ings was a player that was over the age of 30, but apparently he isn't.
He's 28. I just checked it now.
28.
Oh wow!
It shocked me.
It's because do you know what? You're not alone there, because I thought
you're the stat man. What the heck?
I thought he was I honestly thought.
So did I.
He looks like he's been playing since 05.
FIFA 04 and them things.
It shocked us all, because we really thought. I honestly really thought he was like, because look at the teams he's been in, because I remember he had a stint at Liverpool for a little bit and everything. I honestly thought he was knocking on as well, but he's only 28 years of age, so he's more or less here in his prime now. We might see the best of things in the next few years, really.
Even Mitrovic, he's younger than that, bruv. Mitrovic.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too
that
sure.
one's
if I
shocking.
believe that one.
Yeah,
Even if he tells
Yeah.
me to, I'm not too sure if I believe it. But yeah, no, I fully agree with what everyone said. But guys, everyone watching, just drop us a comment, drop us a question. Let us know what you think about Walcott and his career. Whether it be for England, whether it be for Arsenal, whether it be for Everton, or how you think he's going to do for Southampton as well. We'd love to know. And with the previous topic as well, with Thomas Partey coming into the Premier League, just let us know. But we are moving on to the next topic, which is Mesut Ozil's situation. And this one's been dividing opinion for everybody, because I honestly I don't even know no more. Like it's just one of the ones where I think you've got a guy who hasn't played football in a first team since late February, maybe early March, something along those lines. And at a point you've got one of your once most expensive players. I think everyone remembers that iconic deadline day signing, because if you're an Arsenal fan, you were watching Sky Sports when that news hit, and everyone remembers that. And he's given Arsenal some amazing times. He's been a great player at times for Arsenal in terms of his assists. And now you've got your highest paid player who's getting 350k a week. He's not even. I question at this point whether he's even going to training regularly, because if he's not going to play, then he ain't really got a reason to be there. But I'm going to start. I want to go to Felix first and ask you, what can you just kind of tell us what you actually think about this whole thing? Like how can they even mask this anymore? Because it's quite clear that something's going on, but we just nobody knows.
Well, I feel they've done a pretty good job masking it, because no one knows what's going on. So, I mean, obviously, in the early stages, we heard, things to do with Muslims in China being mistreated or something like that, and he spoke out against it, obviously. And the board are using that to, obviously, you don't want to get things too political or too out there, so they're sort of punishing him for that or something like that. But then. It's weird, because obviously that happened, I think, back in December, and after that he played pretty much every game up until the lockdown in March. So obviously that sort of throws that out of the window, because it's like, well, that's clearly not the problem. And then obviously during the lockdown, the players were supposed to take a pay cut, and everyone did it apart from himself, Ozil, and I think 2 other players. So then obviously the rumors start coming out that the board is then punishing him again for that. But obviously, because we don't really know anything, and no one's really come out to say what's actually going on, all people can say are rumors and whatnot. So from my opinion anyway, looking at it, you then have to think, okay, so then could it just mean that he may not fit into the style of play or the system that Arteta's trying to put out? Then if that's the case, then you sort of got to look at how he's played over the years. Because I'm someone that keeps saying, I know already, I keep saying it, that for years Arsenal, in certain games where we are under the cosh, we're struggling, let's say we're 1-0 up or something, and we're having to defend, and Ozil has the ball and he loses it, shrugs his shoulders and walks back, not tracking back, just sort of waiting around for Arsenal to win the ball back again, to pass to him to try and do something. And Arsenal fans were frustrated, calling him to be taken off, to bring someone else on who have a bit more energy, run around, could be a nuisance. So I look at it and think, okay, so now that someone's come in and isn't playing him, possibly due to the fact that he's not working hard enough, why are we now turning around and looking at it thinking, oh, so now are we feeling sorry for Ozil for not playing? Or should we now be seeing it and think, okay, you know what, he's not doing what the manager requires, so why should he be playing?
I mean, I think with football fans, it's just reactionary, innit?
Yeah,
something happens.
It will be reactionary, because that's what I'm saying. I keep saying it for years. I mean, as an Arsenal fan myself, I can go back to the Europa League final in Baku. I know that's a very bad memory for a lot of Arsenal fans. I can see Sam dip his head. No one really wants to remember that final, but in that game as well, you you look at Ozil as someone who, you know, you want to be your most influential player, someone who can turn the corner and you know, turn the game around, help us turn the game around anyway. But he got taken off in the 60th minute. And, you know, he walked off, trudges off, you know, didn't seem interested. And you're looking at him thinking, this is supposed to be our most creative player or our most influential player in the game. And he even got, the fact that he even got taken off shows that, you know, he was not impacting the game in any way. So now that, you know, again, I said, now that he's not even anywhere near the team, why are we feeling sorry for him?
I think, can I just bounce off that? Because I think for me, because I think for me, the only reason why I feel sorry for him is because when Arteta came to the club, he said every player has a clean slate. He said every player gets to start again. That's why El Nenny's starting. El Nenny, before El Nenny's loan move to Besiktas, bro, what was he doing for Arsenal? He wasn't doing anything. But then he comes on in that Community Shield game, and everyone gets to start fresh in it, and we haven't seen Ozil even get one game on the pitch. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I agree with you. He was hella lazy before Arteta came. He was hella lazy. I used to always get at him. The same way you guys grill Nketiah is the same way I was grilling Ozil, because I didn't want this guy on the pitch because he wasn't doing anything. You see what I'm saying? But I feel like everyone deserves another chance, because even the time in Baku, that was a difficult time at the club. We didn't. That game was mad, and the whole club from top to bottom was just a mess. It was just a mess. I think it's kind of unfair. I get you, but I feel like it's kind of unfair to dip it on him. But yeah, I feel like because a lot of people, obviously, we've been seeing online, a lot of people have been saying, oh, it's because he didn't want to take a pay cut to help staff at the Emirates, or it was about his comments about the Muslims in China. There's just so much different rumors going around, but I feel like it's much deeper than just his fitness or his laziness, let's just say. I think it's much deeper than that, because the guy hasn't even been given a chance in a cup game to play. He's not in the Europa League squad. We're playing teams in Ireland, bro. Come on, like, do you know what I mean? He's not in that squad. For me, that's saying that there's something deeper going on.
Understandable with that one. It's true in terms of just how much he's been left out. But Rue, I kind of want to bounce to you. What do you think as a situation? Is it board punishment, or do you think, as Felix said, it's punishment for not working hard enough in training as well?
I am confused by the whole thing, to be honest, because I've never quite understood how a club can consider itself to be sort of a financially stable business that is throwing £18 million at a guy each year who is currently, you know, I don't know what the rumour is as to whether he doesn't fit Arteta's system, whether he's a lazy trainer. I don't understand what he has done to fall so drastically out of favour. But I think it's got to be a point where you look at yourself as a business model more than what's going on the pitch, and you say, how on earth can we judge ourselves to be running successfully when, if you take away this 350 grand a week and you take away this 18 million a year, whatever, you know, let's say last 2 seasons he's been hopeless for the club. If you add up those 2 years, you've almost paid for Partey, haven't you? I can't get my head around why this club hasn't tried to ship him off to somewhere where he can rebuild his confidence. And I don't know if it's something to do with some of these German World Cup winners losing their way and thinking, right, I've peaked now. Because look at Mario Götze this week. He scored the winner against Argentina, and now he's fallen so far out of favour at some of these clubs in Germany. He's stuck at PSV now. I'm wondering if...
That's mad.
I wonder if there's something in that, because you look at Ozil. He was in the World Cup winning squad as well, and now he's just sort of going, So... He doesn't seem to have any passion for it. He doesn't seem to have any sort of will or desire to do anything, and it's only just making it worse and worse for himself. But I then couple that from him with how on earth Arsenal are justifying paying for this guy, and I can't work out what this club is trying to do with him, because I don't know if they're just going to keep on paying until the end of his contract and hope somewhere along the way he turns into 2014 Ozil again. Or I do not get it, and I honestly think the best thing for Özil as a player is just to get either go to a different club and just rebuild your confidence and start over, or just really change the way you're thinking, because he's turning himself into one of the world's greatest midfield playmakers into just a shell of himself, and I cannot figure out why.
I think I fully agree with Bruno, because he touched on something that I think previously I've mentioned before, in the sense that I do really question Özil's ambition as a footballer. The fact that, you know, quite clearly you've fallen out of favour, or quite clearly you're not getting into the side, and there's been an entire transfer window where you've had the chance to, you know, go out and actually play some football, play in a place where you know that you can actually do something there, and he's just kind of like, you know, he's been stern with it. Even today there was I'm not too sure if it was a rumor, if it was confirmed, but it came out that a Saudi Arabian club were ready to offer 5 million, I think.
Oh, what, a week?
No, it might have been 5 million a week, or 5 million as a fee or something for him to go, basically, because the window is still open for other, you know, for people outside of Europe and outside of UK or whatever. But they were offering that, ready to take Özil, but it's definitely not 5 million a week, I can tell you that. It's definitely not 5 million a week. I would have been on the first plane, but I'm sure you would be too. But I question his you know, just how ambitious he is. Maybe at this point in his life, he just doesn't really think that you know, he probably feels like he's won everything there is to win. I mean, Ralph, would you agree with that? Or how? Let's say if you were Özil in this situation, what do you think he'd be thinking at the moment? What do you think his demeanor would be, and how he'd be assessing the whole situation?
Obviously, morale on social media with him, he seems like calm, he seems happy. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's hard to judge and say what's really going on, or to say what steps you should take next. But as a footballer, if you're not playing, you need to go and play, and he can't just be going to any club. He's a top. He needs, if he decides, or if it's a case of him leaving the Prem, yeah, he has to play for a top side. Like, he has to. He's that good. I actually don't understand why he's not playing. I'm hoping now that even maybe with Partey coming in, maybe Özil can start getting a squeeze in the attacking role, because he's top three. He's top two at the club. Him and Baming are the best. He's the best player. The best midfielder at our club is not playing. That makes no sense. It's hard to think. Like, I can't even fathom what is going on. I can't. He needs to play football. He's done so much for us. He's done so much for us with a dead team. Like, how are you them stats and Giroud is in front of you? Does that make sense? Let me not do that. Giroud's baby in it. Let me not do that.
Giroud is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm putting some respect on Giroud's name now.
He cost us the league, man. Chill.
This guy has been the biggest advocate for this guy. Now look at it.
He's got the maddest stats, but he needs to. Yeah, man. I can't fathom. I can't explain it. I can't understand it. It would be unfair for me to say, Özil was lazy, or I don't know. None of us are at the training ground.
Everyone, nobody knows.
As a fan of Özil myself, if he is not happy at Arsenal, then it'll be at least go somewhere at a top club. I'd like to see him go somewhere at a top club and play football and do well personally.
I mean, it's true, and I want to go to Nigel next. We're finally on this situation, and 350k. Let's not forget that Gazidis is the one that more or less chucked this through his window and then sprinted off to AC Milan. He's really royally screwed Arsenal here with this deal, because at the time, obviously, he was the director of football, or whatever you'd call him, at Arsenal, and he's obviously, me and Felix have spoken about this quite often, and we've talked about the fact that at the time where Özil was given this new deal, we had the situation where we had to, you know, try and keep Alexis as well. So at the time, Arsenal were in a bit of disarray because Wenger was still at the club. There was a lot of animosity between them and the fans. There was a lot of animosity between some of the players on the pitch and some of the things that they were saying in the media. And the club in general was actually a little bit toxic at the time. That's the only way to describe it. Aside from that as well, you had your best player in Alexis Sanchez about to walk out the door, as well as Mesut Ozil about to walk out the door as well within that summer. And there was the question of, whether they could keep them both. So Alexis obviously deciding to go was painful for all Arsenal fans. I was a massive fan of him myself. But Ozil...
Snake.
Yeah, no, I weren't really effing with Sanchez, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I'll Kenny flopped at United, what a waste, man. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I said 4 goals, man.
No, I can't lie to you people. Regardless of what you thought about Sanchez, I loved him. I loved him. I thought he was probably the most refreshing thing.
He was a bad boy player for us.
Yeah.
The most refreshing thing we've seen since Henry, and just guys like that, really. Henry, Van Persie, blah blah blah. He was probably the most refreshing thing we'd seen. So at the time, you had Sanchez leaving, and then if Ozil was to go as well, I'm pretty sure that things were about to go like someone would have burned the stadium down or something, because not everyone's stable like that. But at this point now, they've chucked a 350k contract on him. They've been paying that for years, and now you've got a player who isn't playing at all.
How long have you got left on the contract, by the way?
It's I think that this is his final year. He's basically going into it now, so he's more or less done. But if you were, I was just going to ask you, Nigel, if you were, one of the board members within Arsenal at the moment, what would you be thinking, or how would you be playing this in the sense of, let's pretend for a second that Ozil is the one that's not training well. And let's pretend that the board hasn't given him a ban, or the board hasn't said that he can't get involved. Let's pretend that it's the player himself that isn't playing well. How would you approach the situation?
I mean, that's a tough question. You can't get someone out of the club if they don't want to go. You've given him basically so much leverage. You've given him a lot of power.
He's got too much.
You've given someone so much power, and it's like the only manager possibly that may have been able to talk to him was Arsene Wenger, and Arsene Wenger's gone. And it's like Arsene Wenger was the one who signed him. When Emery came and Emery weren't playing him, I didn't get it. I was baffled. I was like, these two must have had beef years ago or whatever. But when Arteta came, because Arteta played with him, I thought fresh eyes, new beginning, and he was playing. And then after lockdown, it was just an absolute. It was back to what Emery was doing. So then it made me think maybe it's not Emery. You know what I mean? It's Ozil. But in that situation, what can you say to Ozil to motivate him to want to fix his attitude? The brothers, in my opinion, Ozil was finished from when he won the World Cup with Germany. That's the biggest accolade you can win in world football. After that, what motivation?
Well, what year was that World Cup? 2014, right?
Yeah. Did he win Champions League with Real Madrid? He didn't.
I think
no.
Oh, did he not?
No.
He left. Bell went in his first season as a replacement. Yeah. So the only thing he hasn't got is the Champions League, but he's played for Real Madrid. He's won the World Cup for Germany. Like, I'm not being funny. The brother he got married recently. His best man was the Turkish president. The brother doesn't need motivation. He's an OG now. Like, football is just basically building his legacy for him to go and duck out and do what he really wants to do. There's nothing that you can really motivate the brother, man. And it's sad because his ability is second to none. It's unquestionable. No one can chat shit about his ability. But sometimes they always say that, attitude and ability, if you don't put in the effort and the attitude that don't match your ability, then you're basically a dead baller in the other sense, isn't it? So it's sad. As a chairman, you just have to take the L, man, and just wait for the honestly, because you can't get rid of him. January transfer, he's not going to go again. So just wait till the summer, cut your losses, and just say we're never going to do that again, innit?
I did hear though. I don't know. Sorry, it's cutting. I don't know if the truth of this, but he's being kept out. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if it's a rumor or it's actually true, but he's being cut out as a way of cutting the costs, because his contract does state obviously performance. You do get your performance bonuses and stuff like that, which is I think is up to like about 100k in performance bonus. So keeping him out of the team, you're saving 100k a week.
Oh my
So like
god!
that's what I'm saying. I don't know the truth of it, but
Who put this deal through for him?
But I'm not even gonna lie, yeah. I feel like a couple
He did.
teams would.
No,
I feel
but
like
you
a
got to
couple
think at
teams
the
will
time,
take
we
him
must
on
have been
loan.
desperate to keep him, man.
Nah, I don't think they would. You
Yeah,
know,
we were.
with his attitude, bro. Nowadays, if you're gonna get
Pay
managers
half
like,
his wages whilst he's on loan. Who's doing that?
yeah, bro, he comes with a lot of baggage, man. One is
No,
wages.
I'm saying pay for
two-
the bonuses because the club's gonna end up paying the 350k a week anyway. So we might as well send him out on loan. Like the thing is, this guy's not bad mouthing the club online. You know, he's actually
true.
helping the club. He was willing to pay for that Gunnosaurus.
Yeah, I saw
His
that.
wages.
in the eyes of some Arsenal fans, he's a messiah right now. He
Was
can't
that-
do no wrong. He can't do no wrong.
Whether it was
So-
publicity or not, yeah, he's not bad mouthing the club online. So
Of
the
course,
least
but
the
this-
club
I think
can
this is
He
do.
doesn't need to. He's sitting on 250 bags a week.
This is what Nigel was mentioning, that he's got literally all the leverage right now. And for me, I can't lie, with the whole thing with the Gunnosaurus thing, it was a great gesture because at the end of the day, for me, I don't see, I don't want to look at the fact that he's bad mouthing the club or he's looking at the end of the day, you say someone's job. That's the most important thing for me. That this is a human being that you're actually helping out. But at the same time, when you think about it with like a level head and try and apply some logic to it, you would think that that actually does make the board look really, really bad, if I'm honest. It actually makes them look bad. But look, regardless of what you would think, did anyone want to add anything before we moved on?
I can't wait to read his autobiography to see what really happened.
What?
Yeah. I think normally when they come away from these situations is when they actually know that they actually come forward to tell the truth. But anyway, guys, as we mentioned, let us know what you think again with the Ozil situation. Do you think it's just a case of him and the board fighting, or is it the fact that he's not training well? Because as Felix did mention, and as a few people mentioned, we did question his energy and work rate quite a lot. But yeah, just to end the podcast, we're just gonna try and do this as quickly as possible, just to save a bit of time. But we are going to move on to the final agenda, which is the top 3 signings of the window. And me, quite honestly, I was quite excited to have a look at this. But the way I'm gonna do this is, I think we'll just go to each person, and then I'll talk through the top 3. And then you just give us like just a couple of statements as to why, just a short snippet as to why you've decided to go for, one person at number 3, number 2, and number 1. But the person I'm going to start with first is Ralph. Ralph's one surprised me a lot because the person in there that surprised me is Ralph at number 3 you put Ollie Watkins, and that was a surprise for me. But then at number 2 you put James Rodriguez and Thiago. But can you just talk us through that list from number 3 to number 1 and just let us know why you selected those guys?
All right, so let me start at the top. Thiago, I know. All right, let me answer why you're really surprised in it. The reason Partey is not in there is because he's in all of yours, yeah. I'm just trying to...
You're dumb.
No, I only say that. No, Ralph, no, don't get me wrong. I only mentioned the confusing thing because I thought, with Ollie Watkins, realistically, he's just had that one game for Liverpool. So that's the bit that surprised me. He bodied, well, of course, but realistically, we saw Tammy Abraham. Sorry, PTSD, but yeah, Ralph, go on.
No, do you know what it is? I followed Brentford. I followed Brentford last season, and he was top goal scorer in the Championship. He can score goals. Like you can see the other Rue will tell you he can score goals. He almost backed. But I'm just excited because he did. Yeah, I can't really remember Aston Villa ever really having like a proper goal scorer, like someone that can score goals. They've always managed to like nick the result or do whatever. So I think playing in front of someone like Jack Grealish, the link up there, them two have been starting to build. Like he's just exciting to have even regardless of what club he went to, after seeing what he did in the Championship last season, scoring goals, banging goals. It's exciting to see. I just love seeing a man that can score goals. Obviously Rodriguez, what a baller are you, man?
Baller.
Man is saying, yeah, the Premier League is
I've told people.
fam, this guy is from Colombia. You lot, I know we've all watched Narcos and them things. The man don't play. They live a life we will never be able to fathom, yeah?
Yeah.
Let alone on the football pitch where people have lost their lives. People have lost their lives because they've played rubbish. Do you get me? Or they've cost the team. Colombia. So just seeing him do an absolute Mazzoline as soon as he's come straight into the Premier League. Like, I've just been so I've loved him since he burst on the scene from the World Cup. And then top, I got Thiago, because we all know what he can do. Like, he's just so dominant, so creative, so composed, so poised. He's just like, you know, when you watch footballers, we don't really pay attention to like a midfielder, like a holding midfielder. Like, we like seeing the wingers, but the way Thiago can just like caress the football, like the football is his youth, and he's just taking care of it. I just love seeing that. So that was one that excited me as well.
Fair enough.
That's me. My top three.
That's Ralph's top three. Fair enough. Good explanation, to be fair. But I'm going to move on to Sam next. And we got your top three. You put Thomas Partey as number 3. The way you've been moving today, I did not think it was going to be number 3.
You know what? I didn't even know it was going to be in order like that. I just put 3 down. But I think I would put him third though.
And then you put James Rodriguez 2.
Yeah, I think I'd keep it like that. Yeah,
Thiago 1. But can you talk us through it just quickly as why you decided to, or why you would do it in that order? Anyway?
Obviously, my guy Partey, like I said earlier, he's going to be able to add that protection for our shambolic defense, which have been doing pretty well lately. I can't lie, we've added Gabriel in there and we're getting stronger. But he's going to be able to add that protection so that we'll be able to utilize our attack more, which we need. We need to score more goals. Like, even you could see when we went to Anfield, Leeds went there and scored 3 goals, and we went there and scored 1. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we were defending pretty much the whole game, and you know, we're going to be able to penetrate teams now with Partey being our protection. So I'm excited for that. James Rodriguez coming into Everton, I feel like with Ancelotti coming in and them trying to rebuild their squad, they needed that world-class player. Because let's get twisted, whether you feel like James Rodriguez has had the best, let's say, last 5 years or not, he's a world-class player. And him coming into Everton and you know, the players around him will be like, "Rah, we got James Rodriguez in our team. Like, we all need to pattern up now." Do you know what I mean? We can't play around anymore. And you know, we can all talk about Everton's midfield. We know what he was in there: Decore, Allen. They're going to be a problem, bro. And James Rodriguez brings in that world-class flair, and I think he's going to do amazing for Everton, fam. Like, I think teams should be scared of Everton. Last season, we were saying Everton, they've dropped so far down, but top six, I think Everton are gunning for that still. Thiago, the thing is with this one, first of all, I'm going to say best CM in the world. You could argue against that, but Liverpool's team was so complete. We was thinking, what do they need to add so they're going to be able to challenge to retain their title for next season? And Thiago comes in, and you see the one game he played coming off the bench, bro. I'm so done. The one game he played, we saw how much they flourished, and now that he got injured, Liverpool started. You know, let's not get into that. But
COVID, not injured. He's all right.
Okay, he's all right. COVID. That's it. It's COVID. But yeah, the one game where he missed out on, 7 went past them. There was no structure in the midfield, so he's pretty much going to play the part like Partey is, and just bring them a bit more security in the midfield, so that the other players around will be able to flourish. He's that guy that's going to help them defend their title this season.
Fair enough. Again, all points that I'm sure everyone agrees with there, but I'm gonna go with Nigel's 3. You know, it's similar names, but Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as number 3, which I think a lot of people don't actually realize. Yeah, I try my best, but a lot of people don't actually realize how good this guy actually really is. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really happy to see him in your top 3, even though he's a Tottenham player now.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant. But you got James Rodriguez as number 2, and then again Thiago as number 1. But yeah, just talk us through that quickly and just let us know how you came up with that for that one.
Højbjerg, in my opinion, 15 mil. I've basically done mine in terms of transfer price, and then obviously the quality of player. He, in my opinion, I think he's 23 now. He's been captain at Southampton. He's got Premier League experience, and the brother gets down and dirty on the pitch. He is the perfect midfielder for someone that's going to be playing under Jose Mourinho, in my opinion, because Jose Mourinho has always had those type of enforcers in his midfield. So for 15 million with Premier League experience, it's only going to enhance his game, and it's only going to enhance Tottenham's midfield. I think that's a quality signing for both sides. With Rodriguez, similar to what Ralph and Sam have said, world-class player from the minute he done his thing in the 2014 World Cup. I've always said, when you've got a manager that knows how you play best, you always go and follow him around. So it makes sense for him to join Everton. The thing about it is he's the big fish in a small pond. So it's all going to tailor to him. So we're going to just see unravel more and more how good James Rodriguez is, and it's only going to benefit Everton. So again, it's a win-win. With Thiago, like Sam said, it's like Liverpool dominated the league already. I think 18 points or whatever. And it's like, how can they improve what they've already got? They've just added another dimension to their midfield. Their midfielders have always been hard workers, runners, pressing, and then you kind of get the flair from the likes of Mane, Firmino, and Salah. Now you've got a midfielder who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and dictate play, slow it down when the pressure's on them, be able to get fouls in those tight little pockets and stuff. Whereas the likes of Hendo, Ronaldo, you're not going to get that because they're more hard-working, high press. They've still got ability, but not in the sense as to just control the game. And like, say for example, it's a one like no disrespect, Rude, but Atletico Madrid in that kind of two legs when they were down already in the first leg. Someone like Thiago at Anfield, when they were conceding goals, someone like Thiago would just be able to grab the game.
He would take control.
Let's start popping it around. Let's build up the confidence and go get this win. Simple as that. So it's only going to enhance Liverpool. And obviously, I don't want to gas them up, but I can see them doing the Prem and the Champions League, innit? But we'll see.
After conceding 7.
Obviously, that was before they conceded the 7, innit? Obviously, but I tried to back you.
No, but I agree. It is fair enough. I like that list a lot. I do like that list a lot. But I'm going to go to Felix next. And his list, you put, and remember, this is his list. So even if you don't agree, it's all right. But he put Edinson Cavani as number 3, Thiago number 2, and Thomas Partey as number 1. Now, I'm sure a lot of Man United fans will be happy to hear, that you think Edinson Cavani is one of your top 3. But can you just talk us through that quickly as well?
Well, United fans are going to be disappointed to hear that I was actually joking about Cavani. I don't think he's going to do anything. But I'm being serious. I'm joking. I would actually put James Rodriguez at number 3. So scrap Cavani out.
Bye.
Bye.
United are finished.
I'll leave that in the will. United are back.
But
so
James Rodriguez on number 3, yeah. But yeah, the other 2 I keep. But yeah, Rodriguez, like what the boys have said, I for one was one of the people that were thinking, how is he going to fit in the just in the Premier League, not just in Everton, but just in the Premier League in general, with how physical it is and how Kai Havertz came out and said that the standard of the Premier League is different from how it is in the Bundesliga. So players are more physical. It's higher intensity and whatnot. So it's like I thought about it and James Rodriguez and how him coming in, how is he gonna cope with that? But from what we've seen so far, and yeah, like what the boys have said, he fits perfectly into the way Ancelotti is trying to make Everton play. And obviously with him knowing Rodriguez from the past anyway, he knew that he was that missing piece in the puzzle that he was trying to solve. So for me, yeah, that's my number 3. Thiago, we already know how good he is. Like Nigel said, when you look at the Liverpool team from last season and now, you would think how much more can they improve their team? They already, for me, their team is complete. So they just need a few little bits here and there, more for squad depth. Really, is what I would have thought they would do. Not so much go sign Thiago, who was surprisingly cheap, but with the way he plays, he will add, like Nigel said, a different dimension because he just makes it look so easy. Just pinging balls left, right foot, left foot. It literally is like you just wake him up from sleep and just swing a ball to him and he would just know what to do straight away. No look pass, just straight to Mane or something.
Real talk.
So it's, it will add a different dimension to the Liverpool team. And obviously Partey as number one. I put Partey as number one based on how much I feel he will influence the Arsenal team. Because for me, I feel like the Arsenal team has been crying out for a player like that in that team for years, decades even. So, so him coming in like that, a combative midfielder who's able to break up the play, also has a good passing range, is quick, is strong, is able to bring others in and also hold on to the ball. Even in the transition, himself can run with the ball as well. He's gonna really. I don't know. He's going to really improve that Arsenal midfield greatly, I feel. Obviously, we haven't actually seen him play yet, but from what we've seen, it's you can be excited.
Again, I'm not gonna lie, that what you did to Cavani there was because I was pretty ready to hear.
No, it's cute.
I was as well.
I was actually pretty ready to hear your reasoning, but it's fair enough. It's fair enough.
You can even see I spelled it wrong in the chat.
You did. Cavani. Fair enough. But Rue's the last but not least anyway. But we've got Thomas Partey as number 3. You put James Rodriguez again as number 2. I think Rodriguez is one constant in everyone's team at the moment. But Thiago is number 1. That's another one actually. But if you just talk us through that quickly as well.
Well, first off, can I just give an honourable shout out to my boy Lyndon Dykes for absolutely nutmegging Slovakia's keeper just there. QPR with a steal from Livingston for $2 million. That's my number 4 honourable mention. Number 3 was Partey. We've all watched Atletico here and there at some point, so we all know exactly what he's capable of. And I was kind of sceptical putting him on the list because obviously we haven't seen him play yet, but at the same time that feels like a daft thing to suggest when we know exactly what his playing style's like. So we know what Arsenal needed, and we know how Arteta's doing bits. We're going to get something good out of it, and he obviously wanted him for a reason. So I think to solve a problem, to make up for not seeing him in an Arsenal game, I think the reason I'm sticking in number 3 is because Arsenal have done business where they have solved a significant problem with a high-profile name. So that's my main reasoning for him. Rodriguez, I'm not going to be about him too long because we all know his story with Ancelotti. We've all said it. He's taken to Everton under Ancelotti like a duck to water. So that's his gig. It has to be in. It's bargain of the summer for them. Thiago. We have not really done very well without Henderson, I found in games. And I think having someone of Thiago's quality, where he's just absolutely torn through a summer with Bayern Munich and just been an absolute treat to watch, to have, there's always been this question mark around squad depth with Liverpool, but to sort of have someone who can make Henderson relax a little bit, because I feel like we have to play him 90 minutes every single game, every time, while there's just no structure and no control in our midfield. Whereas now when we've got Thiago for 45 minutes against Chelsea, we had so much more than just control. We just had this unbelievable player who was just, how many people come into the Premier League and set a record in a 45-minute showing? There's not many, is there? So we had a problem with depth and over-reliance on big names who know how to control our game and how to lead on the pitch. So to get someone who's just had the summers he's had in, for that price, I can't see how anything else can be number 1 at the minute. I know we've only seen 45 minutes, but again, we know what he can do, and I just think that's it. It has to be number 1 of the summer, surely.
I think it's true. With that one, as we said, Thiago and Rodriguez, the two constants. Partey creeping in here and there. Ollie Watkins as well. I think it was a great mention from Ralph. Højbjerg for number 3 from Nigel as well. I think was brilliant. Cavani, who didn't quite make an appearance, but you know, the less said about that one, the better. But thanks so much for joining us, guys. It's been again another insightful. It's been again another insightful discussion. Just be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. As we said, we're going to be coming at you with this content every single week. And be sure to join us next Sunday as well.
Are they swiping up?
Yeah, it's all there. You can see it. You can see it. You can see it. And yeah, again, as we mentioned every week as well, be sure to follow us on our socials. Sometimes these videos come out as clips on some of the best bits. And we've also got a lot going on with African footballers and you know, just updates in general, you know, posting goals and everything. So make sure you head over to @RevealFooty on Twitter. Again, @RevealFooty as well on Instagram. And if you want to search for us on YouTube, again, just type in Reveal Footy and it should take you right to us. But thanks so much for joining us, guys. Let us know what you think about all the topics that we've talked about. Tell us your top 3. Tell us if any one of us are talking nonsense and you don't believe anything that we're saying. Let us know if, you know, our football knowledge is rubbish. And yeah, again, just keep supporting. Thank you so much for joining us. But that's the end of our stream for today, and we'll see you next week, Sunday.